So it turns out quite a few of you had questions. Dr. Picklebrains asks, what part of the game do you like most? The early game, the middle part, or the end game? Truthfully, they all have their enjoyable aspects, but as you can probably tell by this ginormous storage room that I'm standing in, I like the endgame. Another question that I've been asked several times in several videos' comments is how often do I update? The truth is, the less features an update has, the quicker I move on from it. For example, Beta 1.0 doesn't really add much of anything other than these capes and re-adding leaf decay, whereas a version like Beta 1.2, which I'm going to update to next, adds a whole bunch of new blocks and a few new features. I'll end up spending at least a few months on Beta 1.2 because of how many new blocks and features it adds. In other words, I update when I run out of things to do in a particular version. MoistBoy55 would like to know whether or not I'd consider hosting a Minecraft server for these older versions, should I ever get a substantial amount of subscribers. And the short answer to that is yes. The long answer is, might not happen anytime soon, but the sooner I gain a significant amount of subscribers, the quicker that'll happen. Dude Awesomeness 1 would like to know, how do you get your hair to look like that? Simple. Wet it, comb it, let it be. Eric0792 would like to know what my favorite video to record was. Honestly, they all have their upsides and downsides, but probably my most favorite video to record was episode 7 of my World series. That one being where I tried to get better at building, and in the process end up building a town. HazeGirder4185 would like to know how many pickaxes it took for me to dig this hole, considering that the hole starts at that horizontal log ring right there and goes all the way down to the first layer of bedrock. That meant that I had to dig out about approximately 8,000 blocks per layer, and at 60-ish layers, that means I had to dig out roughly 440,000 blocks to dig this giant 99 block wide hole. Now, if you don't count caves, lava pools, dirt, or gravel in that 440,000 blocks, that meant that I had about 410,000 blocks to dig, and since I used stone pickaxes for the entire process, which at this time only have a durability of 65, I used pretty close to 6,400 stone pickaxes, leaving me with just an absolutely insane amount of cobblestone. By my estimations, I have about 400,000 cobblestone at the moment, and 380,000 of which are from the hole. Oh, and the digging process took 4 months, or in other words, 240 hours of digging. Phoebe2240 asks, what update/version do you play on, and why that specific one? The truth is, there's not really any specific version I enjoy the most. I like pretty much all versions of this game. They all have their unique features, so that's why I'm trying to play as many as possible in this world. This world was started on Alpha 1.0, and I've managed to update all the way up to Beta 1.1_02 at the moment, but I do have plans for playing as many different versions as possible in this world, and not just alpha and beta versions. I will eventually move on into more modern versions with this world. Go back to episode 1 and watch that. I clearly state as much. With that said, I think I've answered all of the questions that I have. I'd just like to clarify one more thing. The past few years, I've been watching a lot of videos of other people doing incredible things in their survival worlds. Take somebody like Mogswamp, for example, his 12-year-old super flat survival world, or Etho with his coming up on 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Well, anyways, Etho with his incredibly old survival world, or some of the other hardcore YouTubers you may have seen in their impressive survival worlds. My hope is that one day that this survival world will be like those other worlds. Something that somebody can look up to and say, wow, did one person really do all this? But there's a lot to do in order for something like that to happen, and it's just about not worth it without people like you that watch my videos. So thank you for watching, and I hope, even though maybe my plans are different from what you had envisioned for this world, that they will at least be entertaining enough for you to stick around and watch a video every once in a while.